Jackson here. Today is going to be episode 1 of the Lego debate wheel. So let's spin the wheel and find out what topic I'm going to be speaking about. All right, episode 1 out with the bang. Is Lego too expensive for kids now? Oh man. Yes? I feel like it is. We'll rein it in and talk about Star Wars specifically. That's sort of what my experience and bread and butter is. So is Lego Star Wars too expensive for kids? Probably. Although I don't know how many kids spending their money. I guess you'd have to break it down on what kid means, right? So there's the adult side of collectors and then there's the kid side of collectors. But I do feel like the kid side, what is that? Age 0 to 18? Because there's young kids, I would say before you get a job, let's say 16. So everyone under 16 and 15 who can't get a job is sort of reliant on their parents to buy them Lego for the most part. I would assume that's a generalization for sure. But is Lego too expensive to be getting them as gifts from parents? I think it depends on what you're asking for. To get a substantial build that you'd be looking for, something with some characters, something with some play features, you're maybe more in the $40 to $60 range, which as a birthday present, as a Christmas present for doing good grades, stuff like that, I don't think that's out of the realm of possibility, and that's not really out of being priced. I don't think that's priced unfairly given who's buying the sets, right? I think also the expectations need to be set. I think adult collectors have a weird thing where we want to buy every single set that comes out. And so you look at the cost for what it would be to buy every single run of sets for 25, and that's what, 30 40 sets. That's $1,000, $2,000. It's a lot. UCS aside, I don't think UCS is meant for kids. I don't think kids should be expecting UCS sets. However, I think social media does a really bad job of that, and I'm sure they are seeing all of these content creators, and I think a lot of content creators are the adults, right, who have the money to spend on shelves and nice UCS sets, stuff like that. And so that's where their expectation gets set of they want to have a collection and build the sets that the people they're watching are building. And I think that sets an unhealthy expectation for what they're going to get as a 9-year-old for Christmas. Your parents aren't buying you an $850 Millennium Falcon or a $1,000 Death Star or a $350 Slave One. I mean, maybe they are. That'd be crazy if they are. To me, it would be. I think growing up, I didn't have any sort of expectation like that. I think a bigger set to me was more like the $100 set, $120 set. That was a crazy thing to get for a Christmas present or birthday present. I remember my parents got me the ISD back at the 2005 ISD. 05? 2005 ISD. Back the escape pod out the front of it. It was so sick. That's one of my favorite sets of all time. Just because I got it in that moment. I wasn't expecting that. I probably didn't even really know that it was out and available at the time, right? Lego magazines you'd have to get in the mail and flip through and see what's happening. There wasn't really as dialed in of a Lego website. So that was done right because the expectation wasn't that I was going to get something like that. And so I do think there's plenty of great options for $40, $50, $60 sets for kids right now that they can get, that I think parents should feel comfortable spending that money given the set you're getting. Let me find some examples. $40, $50, $60 sets. When sets are priced like that, to me, they're priced for children. Obviously, children aren't buying that every Friday, but priced for a cool Christmas gift, something like that you get a substantial build for. I think sets like the V19 Torrent is a perfect example of that. You get an Obi-Wan, you get an Asajj Ventress, and you get a Clone Pilot, and it's a pretty good build, fun play features. What is this, $50? $55? I think that's pretty fair for a kid to get for a Christmas present. Tantive hallway scene, you get obviously Darth Vader, you get a couple Rebel troopers, you get a couple Stormtroopers. You obviously, I think the price is a little high just given that it's got the 5s figure in it. But otherwise, still like a decent set for, I bought this on sale for $30, but it's in the $50-ish range. Actually made for kids is going to be the Rebuild the Galaxy line. Force Burner Snow Speeder. You get a bunch of cool characters from the animated show that the kids are watching. All of that is priced pretty fairly, I think, in the $40 to $60 range. Again, you get a couple builds, a couple cool characters, lightsabers, sets that are meant for kids in that range. And then this is probably an example of one that I think is not priced fairly for kids. Ahsoka's Jedi Interceptor. I love the Jedi Interceptors. I think it's a really cool build, but this was a $45, $50 set for a relatively small build. You do get Ahsoka, you do get Anakin. Those are cool characters to have, especially if you're watching the Clone Wars as a kid. 10-year-old would think this is awesome, but relatively small. Is it right here? It's up there. Relatively small build given the price point. Comparing that to a big V19, comparing that to all these other ones, I think that is priced. That's on the higher end. But I think, is Lego priced unfairly for kids? No, it's certainly getting up there. It's certainly climbing in price. I think part of that is adult collectors are comparing the price to what we had as a kid. And so Lego was way cheaper 15, 20 years ago. Of course it was. But also the builds were way worse. And we have a lot better figs now, whether or not you still see errors or issues in the current figs. And there's definitely some exceptions of old figs being way better than the new versions. But overall, the builds are a lot better. There's better building techniques, better pieces. And so I don't think the price has climbed too much. Battle packs. 501st battle pack right now. 4 501st troopers and a cannon build right now. $15 everywhere you want to buy it. I don't think that's crazy. That's not a bad set. If you got good grades on your report card at winter break and your parents want to buy I'm talking to you like your kids, or you want to buy your kid a fun set as a congratulatory thing that they did, $15. Get them 4 figures, get a cool build that adds on to the other sets they have. I don't think that is an unrealistic price point to be setting. But I think Lego isn't being outpriced. I think that the introduction of the 18 plus lines, right, whether those are for people 18 and older or not, there's plenty of kids out there who are like 10 years old that love Lego so much they can build these UCS sets, no problem. But the expectation is, oh cool, they're making these big awesome ships, I want that. You're a kid. Unless your parents are willing to buy it for you, setting the expectation that you're going to get something like that or the Death Star is crazy. So I don't think Lego's overpriced for kids nowadays. I think that the amount of influencers and content creators that are pushing the big sets and showing off that the IKEA Billy Shelf wall of nothing but UCS sets, some kid sees that scrolling on TikTok or on YouTube or something and thinks, oh my god, that's what I want. And then they look at their little shelf of all their Playscale sets and they get upset and they get angry and they're begging their parents for the expensive sets and their parents are saying no, and now it feels like kids can't get the cool sets. Part of that is just being a kid and you don't have the money, or your parents don't have the money to buy the crazy sets, right? Think of it like cars. Would you say Mercedes is being outpriced for the common people? I would say Mercedes doesn't make cars for the average daily driver. That's just not the comparable market. There's plenty of cars that are priced for people who can afford the cheaper cars that need daily drivers, and then there's luxury vehicles for people who can afford that. So expecting a Mercedes when you're 16 and you just got your license is a little crazy. You might have to work and save up and buy that later when you're an adult. Weird analogy there, but I don't think it's overpriced. I think Lego is going up in price for sure, and if it keeps climbing in price, I think Lego as a whole will be expensive. I hate spending my adult money on some of these sets that I think should be $10, $20, $30 cheaper. But I don't think the sets in the children's realm, for the most part, are so overpriced kids can't attain them anymore. I think there just needs to be a bit of a better expectation on how often are you getting sets as a kid and which sets are you getting for kids. Caveat, 4+ sets. Those suck. Let's talk about that. 4+ set. I bought this because I'm going to do mocks with it. The 4+ set of the Tinu Jedi Temple is, what are we looking at? 124 pieces. This was $40 brand new. I think I'm remembering that right. $40. So let's compare it. I swear that's relatively the same price as the Force Burner, which is 350 pieces. So triple the pieces. I understand the point of this is really simple directions, really easy big pieces for little kids to build. But if that's the point and it's going to be that low of a price point, $40 is absurd. I think that is outpricing kids, but I also just don't understand what the goal is for the 4+ line then, because that's too expensive. Not like there's no little pieces for a kid to choke on or anything, and they're really going out of their way to build some sort of specialty set that has play features and is safe for a little 4-year-old. There's still plenty of just tiny little pieces and intricate builds you have to do for the most part. I don't know. I don't understand what they're doing with the 4+ line. Given the price point and the target audience, why would you buy that? You should just buy the bucket of blocks and let the kid build their imagination out, and then buy them the other cheap Lego sets when they're of age to do so. Because also, another caveat, what I loved as a kid building with Lego, I still love doing it now, but what I really loved as a kid building with Lego was creatively building my own stuff. So I had the bins of extra pieces, sets torn apart, but you can also just buy the buckets of loose Lego pieces. And so kids see this and will think, oh my God, that's what I want. I want to build a Millennium Falcon. But you buy them the smaller Millennium Falcon and let them customize and add whatever they want and build mocks and build scenes and build a base for all their clones. Like those $40 buckets of pieces that you could build, that I would build whole clone bases out of. And then you got to buy your kid a $15 battle pack to give them some clones to add in. Like that is a better price point. I think you need to rely on some expectation. Like the influencer adult side of Lego and the kids having Lego is two separate things, and they are merged together through the internet. And I think that's setting really unrealistic expectations, and it's a weird level of complaints, right? I didn't have any money as a kid, but I didn't expect to get the crazy big sets. The culture now is, oh my God, sets are dropping March 1st. We got to go get all the sets March 1st. As a kid, you're not getting day one drops. Probably. Maybe, I'm sure there's kids out there that are, and then those kids post it online, and then other kids feel really bad about themselves that they're not able to do that. And then there's resentment, and all of that is a bigger issue with how social media dictates everything. But I don't think Lego is outpriced for kids. I think kids should be bought the accurately priced sets that are meant for the kids, if that makes sense. So that's my thoughts. I guess it's kind of a ramble. I don't think Lego's overpriced for children. It's certainly expensive. I certainly wish there was more $10 ones that kids could spend allowance money on to buy themselves. I think the new Mandalorian speeder set is awesome. $10 price point. A kid can go mow the lawn and do something, and then take his allowance money or his chores money and go buy himself a Lego set that he earned. Bring some of that stuff back. Bring back the old Clone Command, or the Clone Command stations. They were like clear minifig outline that came with 3 minifigures, like a mini battle pack. Bring back $5-10 things. Bring back a little more variety in poly bags. I just think introduce a couple lower end ones, but overall, I just think expectations need to be set with kids more than Lego needs to drop the pricing of all the UCS and crazy big sets they make just to appease the children. I don't know. I understand it's a toy company, but I also understand that there's lines that are specifically meant for adults. And that's just the way it is nowadays. So episode 1, is Lego too expensive for children? My vote is no. Maybe a little asterisk on the end of that. But let me know in the comments if you agree or disagree, or maybe some points I forgot to bring up, and maybe I'll redo this topic later on in the series and we can address some things I forgot. Anyways, thanks for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next one.